shirts. Let's get into the episode. I'm still the coolest high performance coach in the world. Just so you guys know, I was watching some of my old videos. I still hold that title. Nobody's taking that from me. Let's get into it though. This gentleman that I'm about to play for you, his name is Konstantin Kisin, and he has a really powerful message. The title of the message is Don't Be a Useful Idiot. And the story that he tells is very powerful, and it applies to today and the past 4 years very, very, very well. It's a powerful story. It's about his grandparents. It's about, I just want to get into it. It's about communism. It's just a message that a lot of people tend to forget because we're not taught about history, and there's a certain faction of people in the country that are trying to systematically erase history slowly, whether it's by bringing down statues or having this thing renamed or that thing renamed or this, bottle of syrup rebranded. Like, they're trying to slowly change history, all in the name of inclusivity. But this message that he has is really, really powerful. But I was going to get to the store. I was going to do it. We got tank tops. Check it out. We got women's V-necks, mugs. We got children's sizes now. Get something for your kid. Why not? We got the classic hoodie. Let me click on the classic hoodie. The hoodie that started it all for me. I bought this hoodie. I made this hoodie because I was working in the film industry, and the stuff that you hear in Hollywood is very real, and I needed people to know that my soul was not for sale. And that's the story behind it. But every single purchase that you make on that website helps us fight demonetization, helps us fight against them limiting our videos. So every single person who's purchased something or is even thinking about purchasing something, thank you so much. It means the world to us. Let's get into this video.
My grandmother, she was born in a gulag. She was there because her parents, who weren't married or didn't know each other at the time, had been sent there, both losing their other spouses in the process.
Oof.
And they met there, and she was born in this camp. And what happened once you were released from the camps was you were not allowed to live within a very long distance of the major cities in the USSR. You essentially became a third-class citizen. And what happened was most of the former prisoners of these camps ended up settling in areas and small towns nearby where they lived together with the local small minority of the local native population, various sort of tribes that had been living there for centuries, and the former guards from the very same camps that these prisoners had been in. In 1953, when Joseph Stalin died, my grandmother and her family, they were living in a tiny flat, tiny apartment. Across the landing, there was another apartment, which was a family where the man was one of the guards in one of the camps.
Jesus.
Living across like this. And my grandmother tells the story how that guy's mother, if the kids misbehaved, she would say to them, when your parents get sent back to the camp,
Jesus,
you're going to get kicked out and we're going to get your apartment as well.
Wow.
Now, 1953, Joseph Stalin dies. And my grandmother told me that there was a spate of suicides among these former guards.
Wow.
Because what they were doing was finally revealed for what it was. These people truly believed. They truly believed that they were beating these people and torturing these people and killing these people for the greater good, because that's what they were told. And so what I say to people in the West always is, do not be a useful idiot. Do not violate your own moral standards and your own moral rules for the sake of the greater good. There is no greater good than your own moral standards. There is no greater good than that. Do you know, in fact you do because you've read the book, but most people have no idea how the USSR got a nuclear bomb. It was given to them by Soviet sympathizers in the West. And that is why Joseph Stalin, a man who killed millions of his own people, ended up having a nuclear weapon and was able, therefore, to threaten and challenge the West. And that's how you end up with a Cold War. Because people in the West, some of them, were so enamored with their own vision of utopia that they would give the most destructive weapon in the history of the world to one of the most evil men in the 20th century, because they believed in this collectivist vision, and they were useful idiots. Do not be a useful idiot. Do not violate your own moral code for anyone, for anything. That's what I say to people in the West.
How do you come up with a moral code?
Man, really, really deep stuff, and the one thing that he said that stood out the most is, there is no greater good than your moral code and your morals, just in general. And it's so true. I posted a video just yesterday about this, talking about how, when you're demoralized, when you lack your morals, how easy it is for you to be destabilized, and then how easy it is for you to act erratically and give in to what anybody has to say who can save you when you're in times of crisis. And the one thing that'll keep you concrete is your morals, what you stand for. It's so important. Somebody asked me in the comment section of that video, what are your morals? And I have my core values, the same type of thing. And mine are health, and that's my personal health, love, which is my wife, my marriage, family, which is, extended family, immediate family, my children that are going to come, and my closest friends. And then impact, which is the work I do online and in the coaching community, the people that I help, the speaking events I go to. And then the last one is finance, because, without your finances, you can't help anybody. You don't have your finances in check, you can't really help anybody. You can't be the provider you're supposed to be. You can't be the leader that you're supposed to be. So those are my moral values. And anything that pushes me outside of that, I now, there's a boundary set up because I have these morals. So if anything comes and tries to push any of these things that I just mentioned, I know that that's a boundary, and I can push back and say, no, I don't do that. No, I don't go against my family. No, I don't sacrifice anything for my marriage. If there's a job that's 18 hours a day, well, that's going to mess with my marriage. Not doing it. Don't care if it's $1 million a year. Don't care. Need my marriage. Violates my health, won't do it. It's really important. Really important. Man. And to what he said also, these people felt like they were doing the right thing. A useful idiot. How many times in the world do we see that right now? People fighting each other over things like a mask, just silly things. You're not wearing a mask. I remember one time I was covering a protest, and this woman, it was a protest, a Black Lives Matter protest. I was covering the event, and this little white lady gets in my face and she starts screaming at me because everybody was taking a knee. And I'm like, well, I'm not taking a knee. I'm press. I'm trying to film everybody to see what they're doing. I'm not taking a knee. I'm busy. And she was in my face. Take the knee. Take the fucking knee. That's what she was saying. Just a useful idiot. Useful to the people who were pushing whatever agenda was going on at that time. But an idiot. Just a moron. Yelling at a black person in pursuit of, being an ally to black people. It was amazing. And how many times do we see useful idiots? People who just kind of go along with the narrative, no matter what the information is that they get that's counter, they just go along with it. The old thing that people always say, and they were saying for the past 3-4 years, oh, that person they're just doing their job. Oh, I'm just doing my job. That's the epitome of a useful idiot. They know what they're doing is wrong. They know what they're doing is against their moral code. They wouldn't do this if they just weren't in the confines of a job. But because they are, they're willing to just go outside their principles, go outside their values. It's a useful idiot. And it becomes severe. We here in the West have seen it in the lightest form. Even if you think about the worst that it's been for you, we have seen it in the slightest, lightest form of how it can actually be. What that gentleman was talking about is people getting beaten, people getting killed, like the worst of it. The worst of it. The Soviet Union, the worst of it. Stalin, the worst of it. We're seeing it very, very slightly. And yet that's still pressure. That's still pressure that we're feeling. You can't be a useful idiot. Those people who are on the wrong side of history. It's a very dangerous place to be. But yeah, I just wanted to play that. I just thought it was a really, I don't usually pull off of my Substack. I usually just do my research from Substack and find little leads to things through Substack. But that video was pretty powerful with what he was talking about, because the concept of just useful idiots is something we really have to watch for. And I know a lot of people, as you're watching this, you're thinking of the useful idiots, but I would warn you to look for it in yourself. Where are you blindly following something just because? Where are you blindly doing things? Where are you stepping outside of your morals, stepping outside of your values just because of a paycheck, or just because your friend group or your circle says this is the right thing to do, but you know inside that it's not the right thing to do? Where are you doing that? Don't worry about everybody else. If we all worry about ourselves and correct ourselves, the whole world gets better. The whole world wakes up. The whole world has values. It becomes a better world. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. And other than that, and in the comments, let me know. Let me know if you've seen this in your life. If you've seen the useful idiots, if you felt like one before, maybe before you awakened or came to, or realized that, your principles are more important than just, maybe collecting a paycheck, or maybe pleasing your friends or your parents, circle, colleagues. Let me know if you've ever seen it or if you've ever been a part of it. And other than that, I am out.